Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Folk in Scotland. This week I've got another more specific subject again.
I had a dream about snails last night.
Ah, Jesus.
Can I?
No, carry on. It's ruined already. Carry on.
I had a weird dream. I know dreams are boring, but this was a doozy.
Yep.
My parents' visit in the dream.
Okay.
Dundee was a funny hellscape.
Normal.
We went for a walk,
Okay.
and there was grassland covered, writhing with breeding snails.
Fascinating.
Have you ever seen a snail making love?
Not recently.
Look it up.
Okay.
They've both got fannies and cocks. It's
Oh, amazing.
but there's just
They're having
two.
fun.
They don't have gangbangs.
Okay.
There's a chain link fence,
Uh-huh.
and there was a snail at the other side, and I thought, that snail doesn't have a shell, and I poked it, and it became vast, and it was squeezing its body through the chain link fence like snail spaghetti.
Do you have an
Then I
electric
woke up.
blanket?
I think I don't know.
You,
I think I
you
don't.
were too hot.
I was too hot.
Jesus
So I was a
Christ.
giant snail.
Anyway, back on Earth.
Uh-huh.
I've got a subject. I'm not even following that up.
Okay.
You can't follow up a dream. So,
About snails.
about snails. So,
It's put me in the mood for some escargot
I
and
don't like
garlic
it.
butter.
Don't like
Delicious.
so
Uh-huh.
I want to be more specific again, like our last one.
You want
And
like
now-
an Exocet missile.
Yes, but this, and I've got a reason.
Oh,
COVID.
you've always got a reason.
COVID.
Uh-huh.
COVID-19, and I'll tell you why.
Uh-huh.
Because at the moment, it's all over. Everyone's acting like it's all done, it's all over and
It's
stuff.
the war's still going on the internet, but generally folk don't wear their
They
mask.
don't care anymore. But there's something that's really pissing me off at the moment.
Uh-huh.
And because we've got all this scandal in the UK with
Aye,
Boris Johnson having parties, and I'm not giving a shit, and
No, shameless.
shameless. But one thing they're doing is they're now looking towards New Zealand and going, look how New Zealand fucked up. They had hardly anyone get it and die. Look how stupid they are.
Aye, because they didn't go for the herd immunity.
Yeah, but what they've done is they've kept everyone safe until they
Yeah.
can get a vaccination
Yeah.
and it's like we're actually looking at people now. Well, these idiots in government are
Mhm.
looking at other countries that have been
Well,
successful.
it's always the Swedish model they were promoting heavily.
Yeah,
No model worked well. The COVID
It's
was
a-
so insidious.
it's a pandemic. Yeah,
People tried stuff they didn't know what to do. Yeah, they're blaming, they dislike the lassie who's in charge of New Zealand because she seems to be competent and
she seems to be competent and stands.
she has
Yeah.
empathy.
Oh, that's a dangerous one in politics. Yeah,
Popularity on the world stage, they don't like you. Everybody likes that Canadian bastard Trudeau, but I think
he
he's a
seems
hollow
a piece of
suit.
shit.
I
Yeah.
think deep down he's
a
turd.
piece of shit.
But the New Zealander is
Arden, is
yeah,
it? His
Arden,
name?
Julia
Well, the
Arden.
thing is, right, irrespective of someone's politics in New Zealand,
Uh-huh.
she makes New Zealand look good on the
Yeah.
international
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. Mhm.
That's as deep as I could go in it.
Politicians don't like figures. They hate that the wee lassie, who's the global.
They
They hate it, and Greta Thunberg. They speak about her in horrible sexual terms. Some of them, they're despicable
Very strange.
because they hate popularity. They like a kind of populism that's right wing, a frage populism.
Yeah, they don't. As soon as there's an idea,
If there's
and
a
if they
l-
think if an idea, they don't care about you going out in the streets. The physical manifestation of a problem they can deal with. They've got the police.
Well,
but if an idea takes hold, that's a concern.
I'm in a situation just now at the work. This clown,
Mm-hmm.
who he's been sat in his bahookie for 2 years.
Okay.
He's got a foot in both camps. He's manager Uriel, plus he's got this kind of other job. He doesn't believe in COVID.
Okay.
Doesn't believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. He's a proud misogynist. He thinks that the BBC and Walt Disney are running a campaign to eradicate men.
Oh my God.
And he also thinks that the human race were driving cars a million years ago.
Okay.
He also thinks sugar's like part of Big Sugar. He's
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Doesn't wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Not vaccinated.
Yep.
He's got himself a dingy thing. He doesn't have to wear a mask. He just chooses not to wear a mask. I mean, if people, for a medical reason, cannot wear a mask, I'm fully supportive of them. Some clown, who tends to be men, who won't wear it, they go, but my specs steam up. Like, fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
But so he's back to work.
Right.
So he's going to be back. He's wearing a sunflower lanyard, and I'm supposed to work with him. And I've said, I am not fucking working with him. If he comes in, I'll be going home.
All right. Well,
I'm just not working with him. And people have said to me, "Oh, but he's got his right to choose."
He's right.
He's right to choose.
Yeah, but you have a right to choose.
No, I don't want me.
Someone else's freedoms end where yours begin.
What galls me, it's not a fear thing. I don't believe he's like fucking, I'm going to get COVID off him and die. It's a point of principle. He has played no part in this. He's been part of the problem. He's spouting bullshit. And that's the problem with the world now. Where are the consequences for that behaviour?
Well, there doesn't seem to be
You
anything.
just shamelessly...
You just do what you want.
People aren't embarrassed.
Here's what's happening this week. My mother's going in for surgery on Friday.
Right.
And it's been 10 days of isolation.
Yeah.
I've got to stay in the bubble, which is Susan and that. You've got to be so careful.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
No.
And when we get to the hospital, you phone the ward, someone comes down, they go in. I don't get to go with my mother.
Yeah. No.
And it's, and people are acting, it doesn't affect anyone. If she got it now... do you know what I mean?
She'd probably be fine.
Yeah,
but you're not getting an operation.
And this...
It's infuriating.
It's sending me absolutely
There's
mad.
folk who have surfed through this entire thing and they're just jammy bastard. They've not had COVID. They've not done anything. They're not vaccinated. But I don't like this whole thing. There's a thing they wish death upon people.
Absolutely not. I saw a tragedy the other day, and it's this cop that made this big statement by leaving.
Yeah.
You know, fuck
But
that.
you could say he encouraged people not to take the vaccine.
That's
so
right.
there's blood on his hands.
There is blood on his hands. I do believe that. But he's dead.
He's an idiot.
He's left a family behind.
Yeah,
I don't want him dead.
There's a guy in America who is on he's on kidney dialysis. He's waiting for a fucking kidney. He's fucked. He cannot get. He can't. If you're unvaccinated, you will not be given surgery. And he says no. He says, on my deathbed, I'll be free. He'd rather die than... That is a cultish behaviour.
It seems like it. And
it's getting worse. This country's become very much like America in that regard. I watched the politicised wearing of a mask.
Yeah, that's not...
Like you watch the two teams, one side of the house in the UK Parliament have got masks on.
Yeah.
The other side have not got masks on for making some point. That Liz Truss, our Foreign Secretary, she has COVID.
Yeah.
So the entire the front bench of our leading party will probably all have COVID now. It's willful and annoying.
And then it's like that fucking Lawrence Fox. I saw that cunt. And a few days ago...
the T-shirt.
He had a T-shirt.
Awful.
He's unvaccinated because he has an immune system. That's what it says on the T-shirt.
Yeah.
3 days later, he's got COVID.
He's got ivermectin.
He's got ivermectin.
Yeah,
but I thought he had an immune system.
It's a wormer. Is he even taking that, though?
Do you know what I mean?
That's what annoys me. I doubt very much he's taking it. What does that guy... That guy has destroyed his life.
Yeah.
He'll never get... The only thing open to him is to be a darling of the right. Is that... Does that pay well?
I think it does. That's why a lot of people
but you've always,
that way.
The thing is, you've always got to get... It's like both sides. You could. There's always somebody says that you don't have enough purity. You're not pure enough on message. So there's someone will say, but Lawrence Fox isn't quite... No, he's a sellout. He's a shill for big ivermectin. Yeah. Somebody will criticise him. There's always...
The problem is, it's if you are loud and sharp in your point, like you're saying, people will listen. But if you say something like, well, let's sit back, try and understand the situation.
No.
I frustrate some people when they ask me something. I go, I don't know, I'll have to really think about that.
Yeah.
And they go, but what's your opinion?
Yeah.
I went, I don't.
That's a problem.
And they're going, well, you should have an opinion. I need to think about it.
It's the role in news.
Yeah.
Nobody can say, I'll get back to you in an hour. It doesn't work in the media now.
This is you need to think about things. Now, the reason I brought this whole thing up is the whole New Zealand thing. So I want people to know in New Zealand, and we have New Zealand listeners, this is not the way people think here. This is just a political game.
Oh, it's all bollocks.
And trust me, everyone in Britain looks to New Zealand as an amazing place. Yeah. And we live in a shithole.
Australia, not so much so.
No.
But New Zealand.
But New Zealand looks like the most amazing place.
Yeah.
It looks great.
We have lost a large amount of people in this country.
Yes.
Terrifyingly large amount. And they're just going to be forgotten about.
Yeah.
And it didn't really need to happen. I know we've got the only thing that saved us is the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
If
we didn't have that, it would have been horrific.
If the country, if they hadn't sorted out the vaccine, which you've got to applaud them for, I'll give that to the government. If they hadn't managed that, fucking hell, they made an arsehole of it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's.
But it's all past now in people's minds. So now what happens is they manipulate history to suit their own needs. So that's what's happening.
That's very true.
The rewriting of everybody.
And then in maybe 30, 40 years' time, it'll be rewritten again.
Have you noticed a common trope now with the governing party is they all say they work incredibly hard. You're like, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
But the Prime Minister works incredibly hard. Well, that's what I expect from him.
Yeah.
And I know he doesn't.
You're running the country.
He doesn't comb his own fucking hair.
It's like,
he's
what do you
shambles.
want, a fucking medal?
Seemingly, they just had a key code.
I'll buy you an ice cream, you prick.
The key... Fucking 10 Downing Street's less secure than this building. Everybody just had the code, and seemingly on his bed next to his jizzy underpants was just the codes to the nuclear submarines.
Oh, wonderful.
And people coming in to fucking wallpaper the place had just accessed anything. What was her name? Lulu Spumpernickel or something?
I don't know who that is.
Look up the woman who's done
Lulu
up
Spumpernickel,
but she's done up the 10 Downing Street flat. It's busy. It's a migraine-inducing setup.
Yeah, I would want a place like that to have some sort of minimalist dignity.
No, it's kind of... Well, I don't really like the word cultural appropriation particularly, because I think we're all humans.
Yeah, that's a very difficult one.
I think if you cannot show, you can be liking a culture, you could be showing a culture respect by doing something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By cooking Indian food, it shows a love.
The greatest food in the world.
The greatest food.
It's not because I'm stealing food. It's the greatest food in the world.
Everybody can cook wherever you want.
Yeah.
You basically say only French people are allowed to speak French.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
We're all the same fucking people.
Well, I'm learning French at the moment.
Are you?
Yeah.
What's French for boobs? That's all you need. That's all you need for the French.
I don't know. I'm very basic. I'll tell you what, though.
Why are you learning French? What's the thing?
I just like learning languages.
Try Spanish. That's
My
a nice
partner learns Hindi, French, Spanish. She does them all.
Is this for love making? It's like you're strangers to each other.
Oh, no, we are strangers to each other. No, I really like it. I would love to be. I remember watching Joe 90 as a kid.
Okay, could he download stuff?
And if you could just download another language, that would be the greatest thing. I thought all I would spend my money on.
Some people have an incredible ear for language.
Is languages.
I can barely speak one.
But the thing is, when you're in, like, say you go to Spain, and you've been learning the basics, all of a sudden you start picking stuff up. It's if you're in a situation where you need to learn, you learn surprisingly fast.
Yes. Well, it's nice because the Spanish aren't funny about learning speaking Spanish. They're accommodating.
Yeah, very much so.
We're the worst country in the world if people don't speak English. It's like, what?
Yeah, what are you saying?
They don't make any effort.
To you.
Or the classic speaking English in a foreign accent.
Oh, which
is a shocker.
You do hear people
the
doing
British
that.
do that incredibly.
Yeah,
often.
It's quite insane. It's ignorant. But no, I
it'd be lovely.
When I used to go to Spain quite a bit because you would just get on a bus and go. And this was before flights. Flights now are cheaper than going on the bus. Do you know what I mean? You get there for nothing. But back in the 90s, it wasn't like that. So I would just go to Barcelona or down to Costa del Sol and that, which was too hot for me.
You were a drug mule.
Essentially. So I would go
Was
to
it really
places.
hot? You'd have dreamt of snails at night, man.
Oh my God, it would have been snails every night.
What's Spanish for snail?
I don't know. It's never come up in conversation. No. But I remember going to one bus station to get a connecting bus, and I talked to someone, and I didn't quite get what they said. And the next day, I went back to talk to someone else, and they gave me the same information. And I went, yeah, that's fine, great. And I was like, whoa, that you start learning fast.
Kind of osmosis kind of style.
Yeah, you learn fast if
when I was a kid, my next door neighbour was a German.
Okay.
But he'd come over here, he was a Hitler Youth. But we discovered that like the die-hard Nazis were actually spread up and dropped about the country, whereas the kind of easier going, the non-zealots, they put them in camps. They were worried if you had a camp full of like dying wool Nazis, they're more dangerous.
Okay.
Anyway, but he obviously was a German, a nice guy. Drove one of those not a Triumph Dolomite, kind of three-wheelers.
All right, okay. Yeah.
Anyways, but there was a German. My hometown had reached out and had a twinned with another town.
Yeah.
And there was a delegation of Germans coming over. And he was the only fucking person that spoke German in my hometown. So they'd approached him to say, could you come? And he said no. He says he didn't think in German anymore. He thought in English.
Oh, now that's...
Isn't that weird?
I understand that.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
Because in Dundee, it's known as Old Scots or Broad Scots, the way you speak.
Yes.
And if you hear old people, it is, I would say, 75% not English. And then,
to be honest, Dundee is mainly swearing.
It's mainly swearing. But you don't mix it up with slang. If you hear old people, it's a beauty. And my dad, that's the way he spoke, that's how he was brought up, and so was I.
Oh.
But when you went to school in Dundee and you spoke it, you got the belt.
The thrashed you.
Yeah, you got the belt. Now, I can understand every word, but I cannot in any way speak it.
No, it's because you've been...
It stops right there.
Like bile.
Yeah, it just, you can't get it out.
It's because you've been domesticated.
Yes.
You were a wild animal, now you're just a poodle.
Isn't that? But actually, my partner's cousin got it recognised in 2004 as a language again.
Oh.
In the European Court. Oh. So you can go to lessons for it, and there's books on it.
I don't think it's one you can learn in a lesson. It seems stupid to me. It's something you grow up now.
It's something you grow up with, especially in Dundee, and then you go further up your way in Brochers and that. That's not even a language.
Doric and shit.
Yeah, that's not a language. That's just screaming.
It's a folk for Banff and Buchan. You need to listen to it. Jesus Christ.
Not a word.
The problem with it is, I dislike intensely people that I like written English.
Yeah.
If you're on Facebook, I'm not on Facebook anymore, but people who communicate all in Scots, it's indecipherable. It's idiotic.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have it's not got a set spelling, so everybody spells it wild. So it's like,
and I will read things with 50 different spellings. Now we understand it.
Yeah.
But you have to have the cadence to understand. It doesn't help anyone.
No, you've got to be able to speak. You've got to be able to turn it off and on. There's a thing in Scotland, if you change your accent the slightest, you're a traitor.
I have a Dundee accent, but it's certainly not what people recognise as a Dundee accent.
If the greatest thing as a Scots person you can do is if you emigrated to Australia, were there for 50 years, raised endless amounts of children.
Okay, I know where this is going.
Came back, and if you were still speaking broad Scots, they would anoint you as the King of Scotland.
Yeah, there's
you'd be
horrible.
The greatest thing.
Yeah, I don't like this. My accent would be gone within months.
But it's idiotic.
Yeah.
Saying that, I was at school with a lassie, Gillian. She went to America for like a week and came back. Broad American accent, still got it.
But yes, that's because I bet she was about 11 to 14.
Yeah.
Now, if you send a kid to France on an exchange for 6 weeks, they'll come back fluent in French, and they'll keep it the rest of their life, and they'll struggle with English.
The one I don't like is...
It's funny. Yeah, kids are weird like that.
Say you went to Australia, not New Zealand, because we like New Zealand, as we said. But if you spoke Scots and you went across there, you would lose it. But your children would speak like Australians. I wouldn't like that.
I was living,
what I mean, if your children had a different accent.
I was living with a girl in the States, and her sister came round. This permanently pregnant sister came round.
Oh well,
just pregnant. Known her for years, and she was pregnant just always pregnant. Kids all the time. And she came round and she said, if you and Rachel had a kid, would it have a Scottish accent?
Oh Jesus Christ!
Now I told this girl, Rachel, I told her, I said, she said this. She goes, no. She didn't say that. She's stupid, but she's not that stupid. So a couple of nights later, she came around again. She was always after food. So we're sitting at dinner. And she's...
Eating for two.
Oh, God, it was for 15 or something. So she was sitting there and she said it again.
Oh, my God.
And Rachel got up, hit her on the back of the head. You fucking idiot, embarrassing me. It was the funniest thing ever. Jesus. She just over the back of the head. But that was... Yeah, she genuinely thought... That was Scottish accent. And the only time I noticed my accent, well, you noticed your accent all the time, but I remember we were sitting in company, and I was just sitting having a glass of wine, just listening. No, I was listening to a story, but the story went on. This guy was telling it was a really good storyteller, this nonsense, just being funny, and it went on for about 40 minutes, and everyone's laughing, having a good time. And then someone said something to me, and my voice didn't come out. It was the guy, the Scottish guy out of Dad's Army. Like, you're all doomed. I heard this thick, deep Scottish accent. I went, that's horrible, because my mind had tuned to this.
It's reminding me,
sound.
Have you seen the film The 13th Warrior?
Yes, awful.
Oh, I love that bloody film.
It's
Superb.
terrible.
It's a wonderful film.
Rubbish.
Don't let him lie. Vikings. Clive Russell's in it for Fife. It's a wonderful film. Full of Scottish people.
Yeah.
But there's a bit in that where the Arab is over the campfire. He learns their language.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful kind of series of scenes. He picks it up bit by bit. And that's where that scene reminds
Well,
him.
there's an amazing, I'm going to show you how nerdy I am, an amazing, probably the best written Star Trek Next Generation. And there's this planet, and they've never been able to communicate with them because they don't understand. The translator doesn't get it. They can't do it. And I think Picard's stuck there or something.
Oh, with the guy, it's like Echelon by Shumi Bob.
Yeah, and it's just gobbledygook. But he figures out they're not speaking literally. It's in metaphors.
Yeah, it's in metaphors.
But by the end of it, you can understand what they're saying.
Well, not really.
No,
but
you can. When he says something, you know what you're saying. You know what
the main alien who dies. That's him. It gets the slug in his. Once again, snails. Wrath Khan.
Oh yeah,
Kind of guy they put the snails in. That's him.
Oh right.
I think.
I don't know.
Could be.
But
they're an alien. It's not just a bit of stuff on their nose. It's like a heat like a pumpkin.
You got to.
They spent a wee bit
But
more.
wasn't that the whole thing in Star Trek, that there was a race that went through the galaxy populating it, and that's why we're only slightly different, with a wee bit of bridie on our forehead, a wee bit of pie.
Do they say that?
Yeah, I think that's
no,
what it is.
I think you've just made that shit.
No, there was a race way before.
Oh, that seems dubious to me. That seems a bit fascistic.
No.
A master race, you could call them.
You could call them that. And they populated it. That's why we're
explain the fucking Ferengis.
Eh? Oh, they're
they have
sexy
like an arse,
ears.
like
just grab them by the ears. Wonderful. Eh?
Yeah, life in space would be...
Their vibrators will look like a ladle.
I think you'd have a water planet with snails.
Oh God,
who are,
I'm sick of this snail shit.
Just imagine a spaceship that was just full of water, and it was sea snails that were just
why
going,
not?
I know.
Well, why wouldn't it be?
Eels just as...
Yeah, it would just
the
be...
same.
It would be the same.
It's more difficult to film in a TV budget. Again, if the entire crew of the spaceship were like underwater.
The new Avatar, which no one's wanted to see.
It'll never get made.
Well, they've made the next two. They're finished.
Oh, fuck.
And then there's another two after that, I think.
It's never coming out.
They are. I think it's next year, year after. But it's all underwater. All the shooting's been done. But did you see Alita Battle Angel?
Yeah, it was a bit bloodless for me. But
it was a bit bloodless, but I loved it.
Yeah.
But when she was underwater, I think that's the same special. That was spectacular.
Right, okay.
That looked great.
It was that uncanny valley thing with the face.
Well, she was meant to be, I think.
Yeah,
she wasn't meant to be real. That was the whole point of it.
Christoph Waltz was in it. He's a good actor.
He was great in it. Although I watched that terrible film, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and at the very end, Egon turns up.
Slim.
He's slimmed down. They've slimmed him down. Good for them. But
he would have been better if he was giant, fat, and he had varicose veins.
But that was
ghosts of varicose veins.
But that looked like a real person there. That was quite incredible.
I dislike it intensely. There's that Audrey Hepburn thing. I think she's shilling for Cadbury's or something.
Yeah.
There's one that annoys me just now. It's Einstein.
Oh,
I think he's selling it's either gambling or insurance.
Isn't it great that you can just dig up the corpse of anyone and just take away their dignity?
Just anybody. But it's worrying because you have to... Can you change political enemies? You'll just have them saying anything.
Well, it was like years ago. There was famous videos that came out of Osama bin Laden saying things, and they were proven just to be junk, but they weren't good.
No.
But
now you wouldn't even spot them, man.
But now... Because back then people are going, look at this is terrible. But now,
I saw one and it was somebody was quoting George Orwell, but they'd taken an extract from his fucking books. So he's fiction. They're saying this is what his attitude was to things. You're like, what the flying fuck is this? Twitter's a cesspit.
What do you call him? Iceman in Top Gun. What's he called? Val Kilmer.
Yeah, he's a Christian Scientist.
Yeah, but he can't speak now because of his cancer.
No, yeah.
But did you see the voice that he got for narrating his documentary?
Oh, good.
It's unbelievable. It's his voice. They've taken it from all these years of filming and stuff.
Good guy.
And they've been able to put it together. He's able to use it and to get his voice
He was
back.
Google-eyed mental.
Incredible.
He burnt a lot of bridges in his rise.
He did. He was a wild boy.
He could have been a far bigger star.
Oh, yeah. He was a wild boy. What to do, though? Mm-hmm. It's quite amazing. Listen to his album.
Okay.
His albums... It's incredible.
I prefer the album Eddie Murphy did with Paul McCartney.
Incredible.
If anybody ever tells you Paul McCartney Just say, yeah. Okay, Paul.
So
it's worse than the frog chorus.
I've
actually had a blister in my hand the other day with hard work, and it's just hard skin now.
Oh dear, that's terrible. Look at that. So
looks like a jobby stain.
We went. Oh, don't do that. We went. I went down a rabbit hole the other day because we talked about something, and it was Bridget Fonda, how they took those pictures.
I think it was nasty. Yeah, it was cruel.
It was like, oh God! Even looking at them, I felt I'd done something.
It's intrusive.
I mean? So I thought, who done this? Is it one of these horrible tabloids or that? Didn't find out, but what I did look into is Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
and Danny Elfman has changed.
Is he? He's had surgery.
He's had his face done, his hair done. He's now
like
a bodybuilder, and he's fully tattooed body.
Jesus.
You have to see him. It's like a gaming character.
Jesus.
It's like you'd be in a fighting game and you'd choose him because you stand a chance. It's weird. Weird.
It always reminds me of like Brazil, that Terry Gilliam thing, the people with extreme plastic surgery. But we've got that way. There's a lot of like your Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell looks like Udi Hussein. He just looks like a dead body. They just get this wild surgery, and it's beyond humanity. They've uncanny valleyed themselves.
Here's the problem: people who need surgery, who have been injured, or whatever reason, all the technology that helps them comes from rich people fixing their face.
Rich people that don't like their own nose.
Yeah,
but the scary thing is a lot of do these plastic surgeons, do they do like lower paid work actually helping people?
Yeah, I think
do they do weekends?
I don't know if all of them, but I know a lot.
I'll be honest, they say they're so skilled. Putting in a fake pair of tits, I could give that a go. If you can put a neep in a fucking spar bag, you can put a silicone implant in a tit.
People like that, reconstructive surgery exists. So
yes, the Egyptians had it. The Egyptians.
It wasn't the greatest though. It'd probably be like a hoof.
No, they did.
Check my tit.
If they got a lot of Egyptians had their noses cut off in wartime situations, and they would take a leaf, and they would mark a face, and they would take they would incise into a piece of skin and move it over onto the nose.
Incredible.
And it would work to a degree. It's a guy, Boy David, you remember when we were kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Esther Ranson's husband did the voice of the documentary, but it was a Scottish surgeon. He did some. I wonder how that laddie's getting on.
Yeah,
but he was getting. It got wild because he had it was some tropical disease that basically eroded his face, and he gave him a new face. But because the guy was like a native South American Indian guy, indigenous people, he was dead wee, and because he was in an American school at the time, they were break his legs and stretch him to give him more height.
Oh my God, that's horrific.
The last. Things tend to go too far. Sometimes.
I watched the documentary on.
But I've not seen
Korea.
that guy. I've not seen that kid on the TV.
I might look into that.
5 years
and, or so. There's a lot of leg stretching in Korea.
But you wouldn't get away with that program now.
No,
because it was white saviour stuff.
Yeah,
because a white surgeon went across and took this guy out of his situation.
Oh, it's a tricky one. If you want to help someone.
Helping people so problematic. The person you're helping wants your help.
Yeah, no, helping someone's fine. I think it turns into something different when you're stretching his legs to make him more like other kids.
I get a feeling now, though, that folk will fucking adopt babies just for Instagram moments.
Oh, there is that. There's babies being adopted and returned into the care system because
they want them for a weekend. I'm telling you.
I saw a Mexican politician and his wife took a baby from an orphanage for the weekend for Instagram photos and then took the baby back.
Shit. It's that fake.
How can you see you had no answer there?
No,
because there's no response. What
you don't know why
you don't know. Yeah, isn't that the most horrible thing?
Possibly do it. I watched that thing. It was a police thing last night. It was people in cells.
Yeah,
he getting locked up. There was a gigantic bodybuilder just telling them he was going to kill everyone in the prison, and the police were becoming very polite. There's a woman, lassie was spitting on them all, so they put a spit hood on her, put her in their cell. 20-year-old lassie. She stripped off. She was throwing water at them when they tried to feed her, so she was throwing her food at them. They gave her paperwork, she threw that, smashed it up, and then walked past. She'd shat and smeared it all over the inside of the cell door. She was in the cell with her own feces.
This is what seems to happen. It's a really... People, when they freak out, they just can't stop.
Their own
you know,
Edward Core were just a chimpanzee. Everybody's just...
Yeah, that's very
when
true.
When anger takes over and the red mist goes down, you're ending up eating your own feces just to make a point.
I don't think I've ever been that angry where there's been a genuine red mist.
When I've been a teenager, when you're about 17, you're just like, everyone's boiling and you can get very angry. You throw stuff about. I've done that. I've smashed up rooms before.
Oh, I've been. When you're a teenager, yeah, you can't control it. But there's people who are adults that are still very much there.
Yes.
And the actual red mist, I only had that. You know, where you see kind of red because all the blood.
Well, alcohol does it. Whiskey does it for me. That's why I
wasn't angry though. I was surfing and I was held under a little bit. And when I came up and it opened my eyes, everything was pink.
Jesus.
So all my eyes were bloodshot and shit. All my eyes. Two of them. The main two.
What about you? No.
Yeah, no, I won't go there. So, yeah, then going back to the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
Because everyone's acting like it's over. And people are being... Do you think this is just the plan, just to let it burn through everyone now?
The thing was, this was the initial plan anyway.
Yeah. But
they've just delayed it.
Too dangerous, yeah.
It was too dangerous at the time. The thing is, everything does have to get back to normal.
Oh yeah, there's no denying that.
Because everybody's fatigued. I can understand why people are getting frustrated, but it doesn't impact you. I think we're basically, if everyone's vaccinated and you wear masks in really packed places, that's a price to pay. I think we'll be fine. I get a fee. Yeah.
I think,
But there's just people who have just not contributed. They've gone out of their way to say, and now I've heard them saying, "Oh, it's just like a cold now," and it's still not like a cold.
Not like a cold.
There's people getting this, you just don't know, and there's people who think if you get COVID once, you're immune, but no, people are getting it 4 or 5 times.
Go and look at nurses on YouTube and stuff like that, and people that are putting up what they're seeing when people are having to say goodbye to their families when they're about to be intubated.
But is it primarily unvaccinated people?
Yes, now it is. And that's, I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want them to die. That's not the purpose of this.
Yeah. But it's criminal. It's the people who are putting out the bullshit that they're believing. It's criminal.
Well, you see in America,
act.
all the Fox News are like anti-vax and that, but to get in their building to work, they're all vaccinated, they're all getting tested.
It's a lie.
They don't care.
Hypocrites, yeah.
But if you're giving out like the Joe Rogan.
There's a lot of blowback on Rogan.
Yeah, but he's just asking questions. We know how he feels, right? So stop playing that silly game.
Yeah.
But if people are listening to you and they die because of your information...
He basically thinks he's healthier than everyone else.
Yeah, he believes
he's an idiot.
He's a drug addict.
He'll be on human growth hormones.
And I used to love him.
So did I. I
loved him.
Easygoing, but he's not.
He's not easygoing.
Well, somebody told me an interesting thing is on Spotify, they've given him 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
A musician on Spotify, to make $1, you've got to have 350 downloads.
Oh, I imagine...
so Rogan is the big dick of Spotify.
Yeah, I imagine it's not 350. I imagine it's a lot,
is it more than that?
Yeah. I think thousands and thousands
to get
more.
$1.
I think it was quite famously, there was one guy, he was a writer and he wrote, I can't remember a song, and it had over hundreds of millions of downloads. And he got like a couple of $100.
Jesus.
So he sued to get this money. But you don't make money like that.
No.
You don't. And now the Foo Fighters might be withdrawing from it. That's a big band to withdraw.
Right.
But they used to be anti-AIDS.
Right, okay.
They used to be a part of a thing that they didn't believe AIDS existed.
Right, okay.
And they used to raise money for that.
For fuck's sake.
And it was, I can't remember.
Never take your advice from fucking celebrities of
anybody.
Nobody.
It's like I saw a nice thing. It's this guy talking. He says, "How do you know if you're on the right side?" And it's like, look at consensus of doctors, scientists, people who are good people, proven good people, and you'll recognise that even if you're on the other side. It's an interesting thing.
As I've noticed, if you're with the majority, if you're a mediocre person, you never get to break through with the majority, the big block. So
That's-
you take the weird angle and you
That's
become.
right. That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah.
So you become a celebrity in this horrible, fetid pool of people.
Yeah.
These they're just that Lawrence Larry Fox, whoever he's fucking name.
Yeah.
He doesn't look well.
He doesn't look well.
He's
doesn't look
clearly
well.
bananas.
Yeah.
Clearly,
He's
sweaty.
There's a lot going on in his head, I think.
But who's his friends base? Does that mean it's like if you are a Nazi, all your friendship groups are going to be other Nazis? It's not going to be nice.
It's not nice. And
it's a horrible. I've read some interesting stuff about former neo-Nazis, and there's a guy that goes about deprogramming people from their beliefs, and he says, well, you've got to remember, these people hate themselves more than anyone else hates them.
It's interesting.
You get into these weird things because you're loathing yourself.
What's the musician, black guy, American, Darryl?
The guy that goes around being
and
nice
he gets
to
people out of the fucking Klan.
I actually watched a thing.
He is incredible.
I watched a thing once, and
I forget his name.
You saw it in real time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a black girl went round these neo-Nazis. She was a journalist, and you saw the guy he met her, he liked her, and it fucking rocked his. She was a person. He saw her as a person.
Yeah.
And you saw him, and I'd be interested to go back and see where that. It's like that horrible church, kind of go all the placards.
Yeah.
Those lassies met people outside their little bubble.
And it just changed their world.
They saw them as people, and it changed their world.
Is it Megan Phelps?
The Phelps, yeah.
TED Talks.
There's a few of them that.
Holy shit, is she clever?
The whole family are clever. That's a terrifying
thing. The thing. She is. She's
they threw out
amazing.
They threw out the pastor who set up the church because he started to like his neighbours.
Yes, and just before he died, he was chucked out.
They threw him out because he suddenly the worst. They threw him out.
Very strange.
There was always talk that he was quite closeted as well. The whole thing, anti-gay thing, was coming from him. But he had showed some humanity, and they threw him. It's all run by a guy that went to interview them.
The guy, he was from, I think, originally Florida, and he went to sort of do a documentary.
Yeah.
But his ego got tickled, and now he's part of it. You know?
It's horrible.
You're in this little bubble of nonsense.
Just getting up and then during the day be unpleasant to people.
But this is why I was just talking about this other night.
Mm-hmm.
It's very addictive to be on your own. And what I mean by that is you can kind of think your own way, do your own things and that without compromise and stuff.
Lone wolf.
Well, people like to think they're a lone wolf. And I'm not isolated, but I can find it very addictive to do things on my own.
Right, okay.
And I'm doing my best to include
The
other
only
people
thing
or
you
talk
don't,
to
the
other
only
people.
thing you don't do by yourself, funnily enough, is masturbate. That's out in the streets.
Yeah, on a bus.
Saying that, the way you eat's probably more offensive to people than to masturbate. If you were eating a bowl of your food in the city square, people's like, could you just masturbate instead?
I could wank in the middle of the city square and nothing would happen. But I say I don't eat tatties, and I get beat up.
You get beat up.
But no, and it's very addictive to be on your own. And I've known people who have lived on their own, and they're very. And you go in their house and it's a bit messy.
Right, okay.
And if you move some and they put it back, and you're like, Jesus. Oh God.
Because you've just created your world.
Yeah. And I don't want to be like that.
No.
So that's why I try not to be like that.
Okay.
I do.
You fight your urges.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to be on your own. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a sign of these people in many ways, like Lawrence Fox. He's on his own. Yeah. Even though he's surrounded by people that agree with him. It's only his thoughts without any tempering,
but they're not friends.
Because you'd very quickly, if I say something, you'd very quickly go, "No, I don't think that's right, or that's wrong, or don't do that."
You need
everyone around me would tell me no.
You need a sounding board or something.
Yeah, I don't. See, here's the thing: we agree on a lot of things, the fundamentals. But there's loads of things we disagree on. But I don't want to be around people that I agree with because I already know what I think.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And when you disagree with me, I don't ever confuse that with you attacking my thoughts or.
No,
we're just on a different plane. So I'm much happier to hear people that don't agree with me in this sense. But beyond fundamentals, no. You're not going to have a Nazi here because I disagree with them. No. We've all got, say, different political viewpoints, spiritual viewpoints, whatever. I don't care.
I wonder who's going to be on Joe Rogan's show now.
Well, it's going to be a toxic place to go.
Yeah.
It's all going to be...
Well, Louis Theroux was on it, but Louis Theroux started popping up in a number of podcast interviews, shilling a wee bit more.
Right.
They realise podcasts are easy.
Yeah, there's people are listening to them. It's not a lot of work.
There's one true Geordie. I don't know much about it, but he was on that. It's like Geordie guys just giving blether, and it seemed fine. But Louis Theroux was on that speaking about Jimmy Savile and stuff like that.
Oh, I saw it. The Geordie guy, the big tattooed guy.
Big tattooed guy.
Oh, he does a good podcast. Yeah. He does a good podcast.
Seems a cool kind of guy.
Yeah.
But Rogan, yes, and the horror of that is, then he'll move to the right because
there's no option. There'll be no option.
But people will peel away.
Yeah. Well, put it this way, because everything that's happened, right, and the exposure you would get if Joe Rogan said to us right now, "Oh, come on the show," you wouldn't.
Would you not?
No, I wouldn't. Absolutely. Would you not? No.
You get a glass of whiskey.
You get whiskey, you get drugs. He tests you for COVID at the door.
Does he?
Yeah, with a temperature.
But the thing is, we'd get some listeners off it. But we'd have to go down that path. Nick would have Lawrence Fox on. No, it's, I mean, that's all that would be open to you.
It would be so toxic.
It would just, you'd be bumped into the lane.
Because people that listening to us would then go, we know who they are. And you're like, oh no.
But
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And if you want success, right, like our success we have, but if you want success, then you're going to have to lean a certain direction.
But what's Rogan been doing? Is he leaning into himself, or has he done a bit of a mea culpa or anything?
Well, but
he's got so much money he doesn't care.
He's got fuck you money, and he's acting like fuck you.
You can't cancel him.
No. But the problem is now, if people around him that maybe would go on his show, friends and that, might go, I'm busy that week. I could see people actually saying...
Those special forces guys always seem to have a lot of free time. In the time tearing out folks' throats, they've got a lot of downtime. It's like working offshore.
Yeah.
Everyone had an uncle that would be away for 2 weeks offshore. Special forces guys are like that, I'd imagine. Are they? I don't know much about them.
I'm not going to say anything negative, because I can imagine they can beat me up.
But I don't think the special forces, they don't have them marching about all the time.
No.
They're like elite.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but he's it's a very disappointing turn that he's taken.
Biggest podcast in the world.
Yeah.
And if he is spouting bullshit, he shouldn't be.
Well, the thing is, for quite a period, when he done his show, his TV show, he started going, he used to believe like there was no moon landing. Then he watched the show and he goes, it's all crazy people.
Yeah.
And he started coming back to being a bit more balanced.
But now he's back in it. I don't like his stand-up comedy. I've watched a clip of it, and it's really. But he speaks like he's really kind of earned his chops. He's like fucking hell.
He's a bit of a gatekeeper.
Yeah,
he's a bit of a gatekeeper. We're there with the best, and he surrounds himself with comics, and
I don't think he's a particular. No, I've not seen anything.
No.
American comedy's very. I'm not a big fan of stand-up comedy anyway, but American comedy's very different. I don't like the.
Yeah, it's the American comedy, especially when you see a TV show. It's the wise guy.
Yeah.
Smart talking his way out of the situation.
Yeah.
In the UK, they're idiots.
The worst comedy. Michael McIntyre.
Well, we have terrible comedy here, but there's got to be good comedy in it, but it's not going to get on TV. Good comedy here. What do you do with an elderly man like Jerry Sadowitz?
No,
Jesus Christ, no one could touch him 30 years ago.
They've never had him in telly, exactly.
You can't, and now, my God.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
A real advocate for free speech and freedom of expression and that. You could never have him on it.
Jerry Sadowitz on Joe Rogan show.
Right, okay.
Fucking
Our
hell.
international listeners, we need to get Jerry Sadowitz. Oh my goodness,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
The greatest idea ever.
A few card tricks.
A few card tricks. The most offensive shit you've ever heard, and he is smart as fuck.
Well, the thing is,
he is smart. He's good.
You've got that Howard Stern guy, who's boorish, like frat boy and extreme. His COVID stuff, he's like that. Fuck, you've got to get vaccinated. He says, "Oh, poor Meatloaf." Ken, he'd been again. So
but he's cleaned up over the years.
Is he?
He doesn't do a show like he used to do.
Does he not?
No.
I've never seen much. He played himself in a film of himself,
which was a great film.
A lot of makeup on.
Yeah, that was a good film.
Yeah. I watched him on
Private Parts.
I watched him being interviewed by Seinfeld or something, and he's kind of a strange, kind of lonely guy. Howard Stern.
Right.
All comedians tend to be.
He's a very clever guy.
Yeah.
And it's not just people. He's clever because he's rich. No, he's actually a very smart dude.
Yeah.
And And I think the way he used to do things...
He invented that kind of radio show.
I think it was just his art form.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that genuinely, he created a character in an art form.
Well, here's one. There was a
just
time,
crazy.
I was a big believer. If you attack everybody, there should be no sacred cows. Everybody should be open. You should be able to laugh at anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't now.
No,
there's things you can laugh at. We've got, our beliefs, I think, are pretty solid. I've my core beliefs and your core beliefs. There's no hate there.
No, not at all.
But there are things you can't even touch upon. So you find yourself sometimes thinking about saying something, and even though it's coming from a good place, you can't say it because it could really haunt you.
Darryl Davies.
Who's
Darryl Davies? That's the guy that gets the people out of the KKK. I think it's Darryl Davies. I think
it
is
amiable middle-aged
Davies,
and he's done a lot.
What's in his mind?
KKK. I watched In the Heat of the Night.
Wild.
In the Heat of the Night the other day. I've not seen it for a long time.
I've not seen that.
Stands out pretty well. Very 60s. Some kind of just this nature of it in the angles.
Very sweaty.
I tell you what I watched last night again. The Ipcris File.
Oh, it's getting remade, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, is it a series? I think it might be.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think it's
such a 60s film.
Yeah.
No, but Sidney Poitier, fantastic. Rod Steiger, just a fantastic pairing.
Great, yeah.
But Sidney,
powerful acting.
It was a powerful acting. You don't get that kind of acting.
And at the time where it's happening, this is real, and they're putting this. Oh, it's wonderful, stuff, wonderful stuff. Yeah. Good acting. But I know I just shouted that name out there because it just came to me in a flash.
It happens to me a lot.
I think it might be
like
him.
The other time we were speaking about seafood and I forgot what a limpet was.
A limpet.
It was a limpet. I goes, a thing like a pyramid sticks to rocks. Couldn't remember.
Limpet.
Minute I left here, limpet. On the left, limpet.
Yourself, limpet.
I went to the toilet, went limpet. It's a limpet.
Oh yeah, you went in the toilets to take photographs, but it had been cleaned.
It had been cleaned, yeah. So I made my own little
made your own
Jackson,
limpet.
A little Jackson Pollock.
Oh God Almighty! So COVID, dude.
So
COVID here.
I'm feeling more upbeat about it.
I am upbeat, but I think it should be upbeat with caution.
Just everybody back to it. Get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Wear masks in certain situations. Just be slightly cautious.
Be sensible.
But just get back to it, man.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I understand that. We've got to move on.
I'm hoping the days when people used to drag... This is before fucking COVID. People wore it with a badge of pride, would come into the work smoring, that expression? Smoring of the cold. So
I don't know that one,
smoring of the cold. It's
I'm new to Scotland.
Northeastern, smoring of the cold. So there'd be bogies hanging out, coughing, spluttering. They'd come into the work. You're like, what are you doing here? I'm busy again. Giving everybody the fucking cold. It was just irritating.
Yeah.
Just irritate me.
Yeah.
I'm hoping those days are kind of gone.
My old boss was terrified of throwing up.
Right, okay. And it made him sick, the thought of it.
Just anything.
Right.
So if you had anything wrong, you weren't allowed in. But if it was a cold or that, you better get in here. Say, I was up all night throwing up. He said, take 2 days off. You didn't get paid, but he wouldn't let you in.
That's strange.
Totally illegal.
Aye.
I got an infection once, and I passed out at work.
Jesus Christ.
Right? So I phoned the NHS, and they went, no, there's a doctor waiting on you right now. You got to go straight there. So I went up. This was 2:00 in the afternoon. They sent me home, said, you're taking a week off, antibiotics, right? I got docked that half day.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Not even from the 2:00. I got docked my wages.
He's now rotting in a grave.
He's rotting in a grave.
Yeah, rotting in a grave. I know, it's terrible.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah.
And he wondered why nobody's loyal to me. Nobody's loyal. All he cared about was loyalty, like a Don. But nobody was loyal.
Treat people decently.
It was the guy, his accountant was a nice guy. He used to come in all the time. And he said he's never had anyone say, oh, look, there's my notice, I'm moving house, or I'm going to another job, or that. He says every single person walks out. Every single person walks out smashing things. He says he just doesn't go on when that's how I left. I just walked out one day.
Jesus Christ. But
over a terrible situation.
That's bad management. It doesn't benefit your company.
Awful.
Yeah.
He was awful.
I'd hope that folk are less likely to take that shit anymore. But the thing is,
I took it.
You need a safety, fucking.
And I didn't.
No,
I had no job to go to. I needed it.
Yeah,
and there was no work even.
But folk have stayed
15 years ago when this was happening. There was no work in Dundee, and you're like, because people are like, oh, Dundee's full of work now, and that. You're like, yeah, calm down. It's not. And especially,
it's still not full of work, I wouldn't say.
No, it's not. It's not full of work, and it's so difficult.
There's two rival bike companies.
The electric. Yeah.
There's electric bikes. There's another one. You can get an electric bike down at the waterfront. We'll walk past it. There's a second company. I'm just thinking,
nobody cycles.
Well, nobody cycles.
It's for the students.
As if the students.
This will be a seasonal gig.
Do they like cycling?
They like it, and to hire those bikes.
Do they like tandems? Have you ever been on a tandem?
No, I've never been on one, but they're super heavy, impossible, dangerous.
Are they?
Yeah, they're not good. Tandems shouldn't exist.
Okay.
Although there's new laws now in this country. Cyclists can now ride in the middle of the lane if it's not safe for them to do, and they can also double up.
Right.
And the doubling up can be a bit dangerous, I feel. But the cycling in the middle of the lane, that's not going to bother me. You
see a lot of cyclists on those roads in Fife, and you think, dangerous, man. There's a lot of cyclists. There was a couple guys killed a few years ago. They're taken out. Guy came round the corner. Wow.
I used to cycle to St Andrews a lot, and a lot of the way you can get on a path, but there's bits you can't.
Oh no.
Jesus, man, you're taking your life in your
hands.
Because
folk get furious with you.
Yeah, and this is ridiculous. The drivers need to learn. I'm a driver.
Everyone needs to slow down.
You need to just give cyclists
You're not
space.
rushing for a blood transfusion.
And you're not. This is the
Set
thing,
off
right?
earlier.
Something that could take the paint off your car could kill a cyclist.
Oh, I fucking kill.
So so I've seen cyclists do the most stupid things. They tear through red lights. They do stupid things. I see that, and I get it.
White van guys can be a bit aggressive.
Yeah, I'm not going to be one of these people going, "Oh, they don't pay road tax. Fuck them." No, give them priority because they're going to die.
Everybody pays tax,
and it's like you see the way some drivers act with guys on motorbikes.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, dude, they're on a motorbike. Give them fucking space. Even if they're acting like an idiot, give them space.
They get resentful because
it's not worth killing someone.
Cycles are just nothing, but nothing's been invented that's more friendly, green friendly than a push bike.
I have said that for years.
Because they'll last forever.
Hope for humanity is in a bicycle.
Cities, we shouldn't have so many fucking cars in cities.
Everything, most things we've had created is out of war or killing.
I'd love a push bike.
A bike.
I'd love a push bike. I've seen a guy goes about and it's the one wheel at the back and the two at the front, and it's got a big cart on the front. You can move stuff.
You get them electric as well.
Electric. I've seen that guy goes about.
Lovely.
Wonderful thing.
Great things.
Really swanky.
My bike. You'd love it.
No.
You'd love it. It's a jump bike.
What's that mean?
It's meant for ramps and jumping and stuff.
Okay, of course. Right. Elliot.
Yeah, and
does it got a wee basket to put ET in the front?
No, but it's all customised. I've got a plush leopard seat.
I never want to see it.
It's the most beautiful bike. It cost me a fortune.
Did it?
Yeah, and I can't ride it now because I'm injured. Jesus. But I still clean it. I still love my bike. My brakes on it were 400 quid.
Jesus Christ.
They were.
It'll stop the bike, but your tatty he'd go fly through the air.
The handlebars on it were about £80.
Oh, Jesus.
The saddle was 60.
Just as well this podcast really take it off.
You'll be poor.
You'll be able to buy a new bike.
Look what I've spent all my money on.
A fleet of bikes.
This is what I tell people. They're like, I've had some DMs from people saying, you're clearly doing well because of all the equipment. No, this is a hobby. I spend money on the hobby. Patreon does great.
I got two miniature heroes this morning.
You did. But no, I've spent...
That's a highlight of 2022.
This is my hobby.
That's a hobby. And
I spent all the money on the camera was $380.
And you can barely work it.
The lights were $200. Mics. The mics were, I think, about £80 each.
Wonderful.
The stands were £80 each.
Yeah.
This was $400.
Jesus Christ.
And then
the sound is so good though.
The sound is excellent. It's all quality. And then I take this home. I take the card home and I put it into Reaper, and I.
Reaper,
and I compress it and I put it through Ozone, which expands the sound and gives it the professional finish.
Ozone.
Yeah. And the Ozone software that I bought, that was £100.
Oh, what?
I love all this shit. I spend money on it.
You're like Scotty. This is the enterprise and you're Scotty.
Anything from Patreon. And we've got lots. We'll have some new patrons.
Do we?
Thank you. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well done.
And I have
they're
to
in
say,
for a treat.
This is
I'm
where
jealous
your money
of them
goes.
because they're just imagine opening a new podcast and you find like 250 shows you've just not listened to yet.
Oh God. Isn't that magical? Now,
isn't it magical?
Also, because Derek exists,
and you still
there's also me.
Still kind of
I'm not
fix this
fixing that
shit.
just to annoy you. I'm going to show you where some of the money goes.
Let's see it.
Moustache glue. And
that's just
the thing that started it all.
That's just jizz.
A moustache.
A moustache.
Derek's moustache. Look at that.
That'll be in a museum one day. A crime museum.
Look at this. Derek's glasses.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
There's no lenses.
That's like Tom Cruise.
I've got backup ones of them. Yeah, it's all in there.
That's not a wonder. There's a smell come out of that drawer.
And I film it all on Panasonic G7, which I bought before.
This is all for the techie people.
I got it on a G7, so it's filmed like that.
Is that not a security company?
Yeah, I think.
G4.
So it's filmed on that. It's an older camera, but it's super high quality. Love it. So I film it on that.
So COVID and snails. Do snails get COVID?
Animals get COVID.
Yeah, hamsters do.
Yeah.
I want the listeners to go on to YouTube and look up leopard snails sex.
Okay. Oh,
leopard slugs.
My
slugs.
Russian friend. She just gave 2 of her giant snails away.
Oh, I'd love a giant snail.
She gave it to someone who was after them because of her increase in work. She didn't have so much time for them.
Friendly,
but big. Yeah.
Friendly animal.
Big snails. She had giant. I don't know what they're called.
Big snails.
Giant snails. Yeah.
Giant snails.
Humongous. But yeah, she had a couple of them.
I've seen one. A guy used to take one to the pub.
Right. They drink, don't they?
They
get
beer.
beer.
They like beer. Light beer.
That's weird.
Play darts. Maybe it was a snail that's haunting my dreams. Maybe it's dead. Maybe the snail died and it's become a snail ghost.
Because I'm going to bite. If we read into what it is, one, it's not the snail. I think it was the problem. I think the issue was the fence. The fence is what I picked up on.
The fence.
You see, I did listen to you.
It was squeezing.
I'm going to have to listen because people are pointing out I don't listen.
Well, there's that. Looking deeper, there's that Spartacus. There's that famous scene.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like oysters or snails? It's a reference to. Yeah. Could be that.
My favourite.
Olivier was
my
on about
my favourite part in Spartacus, when he goes, "I'm looking for Spartacus," and one guy gets up and he goes, "I am Spartacus."
Aye. They're all Spartacus.
All American.
He was a powerful.
Spartacus.
Kirk Douglas had a right
chest. All chest with legs dangling out the bottom.
He didn't have Victor Mature had the bigger chest.
Oh my God,
Victor
that was a
Mature.
chest.
Beyond
a barrel.
Jesus fucking Christ.
The bow of a ship.
What's his name, mate? What was that fucker with the big head? Robert Mitchum. He had an even bigger chest.
He had a head like you.
He just had this giant fucking chest of a man. Just these guys. Can they wear the suits?
What was it, Night of the Hunter?
Aye, good film.
God, if you want to see horror,
it's yeah.
Watch him going in the water after that kid.
Oh,
that is horrific.
When he gets shot, he's like squealing and stuff. No, it's a hell of a film.
Brilliant film.
Brilliant film.
Beautifully shot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. Check that.
COVID, so we're feeling a bit.
But I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Please.
Good luck, Chris. If anyone wants to follow Chris Shadowins. Actually, yeah. Anyone who's listening. He had eye periods.
He had eye periods the other day because of a cursed object.
Right.
That has clearly. Did you see his house? It looked beautiful.
Big house,
clean, lovely.
Those big doors.
Big doors.
We didn't need
coffins. Right. But he had eye periods because of it. His house is now cursed.
He's a subtle guy. That's what I like about him.
Go and follow Chris Shadowins. You're in for a treat.
You're in for a fucking treat. That's for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen,
please wash your balls.
Wash your balls.
Even when COVID's gone, just keep washing them.
Yeah, that was our advice for the start of COVID.
We were ahead of this game, but we were speaking. We want
to keep it going. I want to keep masks going.
Yeah,
if you've got a cold or that, put a mask on.
Yeah, be considerate to other people.
Like in Japan and that.
Yeah.
Just be
nice
sensible.
Thing. Masks are not going away now.
Do you not think? I think there's going to be a huge rejection and people are just going, that's it.
No, there'll be certain people that will keep masks.
I think I'll keep it.
Yeah.
If I'm not well.
On a cold day, it's quite nice. But I look forward to it because if somebody slags me off for wearing a mask, I'll kick them in the cunt.
That's true, but the last person that shouted at me, I got terribly ill off it and thought I had COVID, but it wasn't. It was. This is what I was hearing. It was norovirus, sickness and diarrhea one. But apparently it's changed because people have not been getting it. And you get 2 days of heavy nausea, terrible nausea, not being sick. It was terrible. Light sensitivity.
Milk and magnesia.
I have never felt so ill in years.
Jesus Christ.
Awful. It was terrible, just a sick feeling. But even at that, I knew I wasn't going to be sick.
But you smashed all the mirrors in the house and then you recovered.
I was fine.
Fine. There you go.
I took down my haunted shit that you give me. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time.
Ta-ra, folks.
Later.
Speak to you soon. Ta-ra, ta-ra.